Hey everyone, this is John from PatchVault, and we are going to walk through the updated adding of an issue form. This is January 2020 that you're looking at, so depending how far away from that recording time you are, you may see different things in the field. I will try and keep this up to date as we go. In your admin area, once you get to a lodge, you can click on your issues tab here, and we're going to go to new issue. By the way, 999 is in production as kind of our test lodge. Like if we need to do something or try something out on production without it showing up publicly, we can do it here. It may show up in some of the recently added things like that, but we just add it real quick and delete it out usually. So we're going to do this new issue here, and then we'll delete it out. So I click on the new issue button, and immediately we see our form. As we start to scroll down, the first thing we have is our nickname. So I'm going to basically build the holiday banquet issue from Shenandoah Lodge, which is my lodge that we just did. So in here, I'm going to type holiday banquet patch. You can call this whatever you want. This is just a nickname kind of thing. This is an event issue, so we're going to check the box. The category is going to be a regular issue. So this is something that's changed in order to support event issues being able to be an EYX 2012, whatever. We needed to change it. It used to be that you would choose event here, but now we check the box. So when there's not one of these 6 items here as the second character, it just goes to regular issue. So this would then just be E, and it would skip the category, and it's going to show what we have down here. So this is a hexagon shaped patch, so we're going to make it's an X, and here is going to be 2020-1. There's no variety. We have some stuff from Blue Book that shows up as marked as listed in error, so we have that as an option here. We rarely ever check this box though. Now, if you're adding an old patch, something that was listed before 2006, you're going to want to go ahead and fill out similar stuff on this side. You'll notice it's almost exactly the same. And so you could just say copy lodge information. We need to fix it so it adds this box, but right now you can just go back and turn these back. Not jacket patch. Delete that. So, year and month of issue, we're going to go for 2020 January, precise date, because we know that it was on January 4th, so we can say that's the exact month. If you don't know the month, just put January, and that's because it's going to give you the year. If you know the approximate year, you can just do 2020, and again, just choose January because it will freak out without having a month. So that's what we have that note right here, if you don't know the year. So January. Quantity issued was, I believe, 300. This is an event patch, so there's not a patch scan URL. But if there was, we could go ahead, take a picture with a QR code, and we'd put the full URL in here. So just copy the entire URL. So you're going to have the HTTPS, patch scan, etc. here. Often, patch scan can be wrong, but we're not going to audit everything. If you have notes that patch scan is wrong on this particular issue, you can put them in the notes field below. But this is just about capturing the data. On standard issues especially, we usually have lots of reorders. Sometimes those result in name varieties, an A, a B, a C, but sometimes they just result in interesting variations that people want to collect. So instead of trying to fight the fight of having 15 A, B, C, Ds, whatever, in Virginia, at least, we pushed more towards only explicit things that can be described without having both patches in hand as an ABC. Everything else is a variation. So that's what issue variation is. This is really something like just for like Uber collectors of a given lodge. The previously listed as, if it was, say, Juan Seneca 333 is a great example. The S16 is a issue that was Conclave 2001, black flap, 2 duck heads, and it was 3 different backs, and it used to be ABC. Well, the 2017 guidelines are explicit that backs are no longer like a defining variable for that kind of stuff. So we could add variations here. Now, if you also have reorders, if you reorder your standard issue and it comes back a little different, okay, well, we can put in that reorder date and the quantity. If it's got a different URL, great. So that's what this whole area is for. Obviously, this was a one-time event. With a one-time patch, there were no reorders. There's no variations. So these will be left blank. Like I said, the patch is a hexagon. So we have all these different sizes here. You just click on the one you want. Material-wise, this is embroidery. The backing type is the BSA security backing. And the border color is a dark turquoise. Border type is rolled. Now you can see some of this stuff we're combining things from various types. So some of these are things that, like, for example, hemmed edge, piped edge, those are neckerchief things. But this is all just one combination. So this was a rolled edge, standard marrowing. Background color is, call it blue. Name color, I believe, was black, and the FDA color was, blue as well. You can type the first three letters, and that's what I just did with those two there, and it will automatically jump to that. So if you're really good with this, you can do this whole form by just tabbing and typing. Color count and coverage come from PatchScan. If you know it, you can put it in. Coverage here is going to be 100%, and for most fully embroidered issues, it's 100%. You have some F issues or some things that are would typically be considered based off a garbage twill kind of background that are not completely filled in, and that's kind of where you can start playing around with coverage. So browse. We're going to go ahead here and look for our image that we've processed already, and this is the patch. So pretty straightforward. We'll open that for the front. We go ahead and get the back image too. That's good. Now, sometimes you'll have things that don't have a back. So for example, a neckerchief often does not have a back scan. So instead of having that missing back image and being really annoying, you would want to check this box right here. Right now, obviously we have the back image, so that doesn't matter. You can add an image URL, but I find that usually I probably will remove this in a future version of the form, because usually it's just easier for us to upload the ones we want. This came from Maritz, so we'll put Maritz in there. If you're missing a manufacturer, I think we're pretty good on most all the manufacturers now, but if you're missing one, you can go back up in admin and add new manufacturer. If you know the height and width, I don't, you can add them here. Now, these are, instead of just having all this stuff in a free-form text field, we've turned all these things into checkboxes. So this has an FDL. It's not an anniversary anymore, so we just passed our 75th anniversary. Not a conclave, not a delegate, not a staff, all these different things. This is effectively very close to what the original, or the 2006 Blue Book listing of items was. There are probably almost 100 now in the 2017 guidelines, and a lot of it was super esoteric stuff, so we decided to not add those to this checkbox field. You can add that stuff down here. That's fine. Totally awesome, whatever you want to do. But for these things, a lot of these, for example, the OA 100 and OA 75, those are going to actually be used, they're currently used to pull for pages of, like, show me all the Centennial listings, which you can do on the public site right now. So that's where that comes in. So from here, we can go ahead and say, okay, this is, 2020 holiday banquet. If you know the designer, you can put it in. If there's any interesting history around the patch or other details, that would be really cool to add here. Usually description is kind of a short thing. We don't have the 80 character limit of the old Blue Book style. This can be, could be a paragraph, but this usually is trying to keep this short. And then if you have a lot of exposition, put that in history, just to keep this from becoming overwhelming on various views. And at this point, I just hit create issue. Now what's going to happen is it's going to say, please wait. And we're going to wait for the images to actually upload to the server. Once they upload to the server, they get tossed into a background job. And then those images are processed into all the different sizes that we need. So this is why we start with a very large 3200 pixel wide image. All the sizes, that could be printed at 300 DPI on a letter piece of paper. So that's why we're starting at basically, future-proofing, print resolution kind of stuff. We also allow, lodges have come to us and asked to use these pictures for books they're doing for history and things like that. So starting at the print res, we always have the highest res, and we can always drop it down. So this will make tiny thumbnails and all sorts of views. So we'll wait for this to go up, and we'll cut this out and jump ahead. And there we go. So now you'll notice that the images don't show up yet because it has yet to process those images. So from here, in the future now, I could go ahead and click on, this is edit, this is delete. Here I can add sources and attributions, but I haven't done that here, so we're not going to show that right now. I can also do additional images. So for example, if I have, say I have I do have multiple backs. Let's go ahead and look at this. I can add an image here. And so I can go in and say, hey, here's MVE back or MVE front. If you are the editor, click the official PV image, because then it'll show up on the actual display page as opposed to just on the additional images tab. So usually you don't want to do thread breaks and things like the front and backs, or you'll have a big back or you'll have a small back. And you can see that here. If we go to the, and we're going to look at that S16 I talked about earlier. So here we've made official images for the other alternate backs. So these were the A, B, and C previously listed. So if by doing the MVE back, I check this and I check that, and that makes it show up right here. Same thing would happen up here for the front. So that's what you can do with alternate images. We're not going to do that right now. So we can go back. And now see, it's processed the images, so the image is now showing up here. The other thing we have here is similar issues. So for example, especially with standard issue flaps, some lodges have standard issues that occur over many years, and it's very difficult to tell them apart. Shenandoah is a great example of this. You can go in and say, hey, I have other similar issues. So I could go ahead and select other issues that it matches. So if you look here, if we go up to, we'll go back and look at Shenandoah, and you can see how this shows up. Here we are. And we'll go to issues, and we'll scroll down to let's look at one of the blue bordered brotherhoods, because there's like about 12 of those. So we have a whole bunch you can see just right here. So if I look at the S9 and I go ahead and click on similar issues, here's the S9, and then here's issues that I've associated with it. So if I say, okay, I've got this issue, which one is it? If you go through and do this for your lodge, this is really helpful for collectors, because you can say, oh, okay, I'm going to start looking what's different here. Okay, the border's different here. Got a little more of a point here. Darker mountains. Okay, all right, yeah, I can start figuring out what's going on. So this is a really helpful thing, and that is, you get to that right through change similar issues. So I'm going to delete this out real quick before it shows up on the home page. And say, are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. Goodbye, unknown lodge 999. There are no issues for this lodge. Sadness. Anyway, that is our adding an issue. Editing an issue is the exact same way. It's the exact same form. So you can go in and add and change things and add later. You can even re-upload images if you have an error or you have a better image that you've been able to scan or process. So if you have any questions, please drop us a line, and hopefully this will help you guys get your issues in quicker. Thanks. Bye.